People come here, we don't know who they are. They're fleeing war. Why didn't they bring their wife and kids or their mother with them? You mustn't say this and you mustn't say that. Yeah, black people and Indian people and anyone that's not a white average person has to be wrapped in cotton wool by the lefties. They just leave us all alone and we'll all get on. So a lot of the jokes were about racists. They weren't racist jokes, but of course. Racist.
Do you do jokes about Islam? Were you at the BBC when Savile was roaming about?
I'll tell you a story about Savile. In between me and the Prince of Wales, I got accused of going to visit Gary Glitter in prison. There he is, Gary Glitter. But I got arrested for Operation Yewtree.
Was there any truth in the allegation?
She said that and I thought this is a done deal. No matter what I do, I'm just an insecure arsehole that gets his kicks out of thousands of people loving me. But I will, Andrew, apologise to everybody I've upset ever in my life.
The last 2 months, you guys have really listened when I've asked you to subscribe. Thank you so much. Now, the next step is to ask you on YouTube to hit the reminder notification on my homepage. Without that, you'll miss out on my videos, and we wouldn't want that. Make sure as well that notifications are set as on YouTube or it won't work. If you're watching on Spotify, please hit follow. Jim Davidson, welcome to the show.
Hi.
You're on. You're good. Will you apologise for things? Will you apologise for everything you've ever done?
Richard, I've told you before, you're a very naughty boy, taking all that stuff you were alleged to have taken on Blue Peter and got the sack. But I will, Andrew, apologise to everybody I've upset ever in my life. Okay, we all right?
So
you won't leave it alone, will you? Do you remember that clip?
For anyone who doesn't know, that was a video. That was a clip of Richard Bacon on the radio, and he was saying to you, "Will you apologise to people?" Without sort of the understanding that times have changed, and what was funny to people back then isn't now.
It's great watching the comments on that. It got about 6 million views or something ridiculous. Watch Jim Davidson tear the arse out of this presenter, and I looked at all the comments because I'm a narcoleptic statisticist and narcopist, and one of them said, "Jim, have you turned gay?" Right? And I sort of scratched my head, and then he'd comment underneath it, "You're wearing a scarf indoors." How bizarre.
Yeah. Well, were you?
No, I wasn't. Yes, I was, but no, I weren't. No, I ain't. What?
So
I apologise. You went wearing a scarf.
Did you go a bit sulky with Richard?
I got annoyed. It was the same. I mean, I didn't like him. It left there. I didn't want to go on there and argue with someone's personality, for heaven's sake. I thought he was on there interviewing me about something. And I had I don't know what I was plugging. Scarves, probably.
Did he want you to apologise for something was it about fat people and things like that?
Well, I've upset all the black people in the world and all the fat birds.
Yeah.
Right, that leaves no one else.
But you shouldn't be fat.
Sorry?
You shouldn't be fat.
Yeah, eat less.
I think I do have some sympathy, but it's hard. I've tried, but things. How are you doing fitness-wise?
You're fucking awful.
But Gervais makes fun of
dropping off.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't happen.
I'm 71 now.
Yeah.
I used to be the young comic. I can remember being the young comic, looking up at people. I remember being a 12-year-old kid in the gang show doing the Billy Cotton band show on the television, and they wanted someone to go up and be cheeky to him. And they pushed me on, and I looked up to this man, and he had a nose that looked like it had been soaked in gin for 5 years. And I looked and I thought, he must be the oldest man in the world. He was probably about 40.
Yeah, well, back then they looked a bit older, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was a weird thing. Some of those things you're saying sound archaic to me because I don't. The Jimmy Cotton and sounds
Billy
like
Cotton.
Yeah,
the Billy Cotton band show. How old are you?
I don't know. 36.
Yeah,
it's different.
I remember being 36.
Does it wind you up looking at someone like Reginald D. Hunter? He comes out of a lot of anti-Semitism and stuff. Ends up being on Have I Got News for You? Do you know there's a black comic? What I mean is there's types
American, isn't he?
Yeah, types of offensive comedy. They're all on Have I Got News for You?
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, they wouldn't have you on there now, would they?
No, well, I wouldn't go on anyway. I mean, I'm top of the bill. I'm saying I've got the OBE. I can't go and do lefty things. No, I don't think they want me on there because it's not the type of audience that they think I would. I wouldn't bring anything to that program. I could go on there and sort of do it. I suppose. Ian Hislop, if I really want to sit with him, I'm a stand-up comic. He's an amusing journalist, isn't he? Editor.
Yeah, something. Yeah, Paul Merton's quite funny.
Yeah.
But it just feels
I
like...
must have missed that.
Well, did you feel things moving? When was the point when you felt things sort of moving away?
I think when Ben Elton proved you could be a stand-up comedian without being funny and just making political comments, you go on and say, Margaret Thatcher's a bitch. I thought, oh, hang on a minute.
Was that
I liked to tell jokes. And then I went to America to do, I did a couple of bits in America. And I saw a comic that changed my delivery style, and that was a guy called Sam Kinison. And he was great. He was called The Screamer. If you see him on YouTube, he wears a beri and a Mac, and he goes, oh, you're getting engaged. You're engaged. Watch my face. This is what being married is like. And he screams at everybody. Yeah. He was The Screamer. And because he had an opinion and just didn't tell jokes, and it was the same. And I did a gig with him and Robin Williams, and I decided that they were much better than me. I didn't want to be as good as my last joke, so I very rarely tell jokes now. You get the odd old chestnut in there.
Okay.
And now I explain to the young audience what a joke is, so I take them through it bit by bit. This is the beginning. You know, this is the middle bit, and this is the bit where the man comes back into the joke and gives you the tag. So,
is that because younger audience don't seem to get jokes?
No,
what's happened?
Because the young comedians don't tell them. They have taken it to, we've got to write our own material. We can't tell a joke that someone's told in a pub. I spoke to Jimmy Carr about this. I said, if someone told you a joke in a pub and it was really funny, would you tell it? Well, no. Why? Because that joke, he might have got that joke from another comic. Oh, come on, for Christ's sake. Do you care, if it's your own joke? It's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, people get upset, though, don't they, about that?
Audiences don't. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, but if you were nicking everyone's jokes, it'd be no good.
Well, I don't think it's nicking everyone's jokes. I think it was everyone told the same joke. They used to go round. They're like fucking herpes, You could, have you heard the one about the gay? Oh, that's a good one. We'll do that. But where do they come from, jokes?
Well, someone makes it up to. Well, some of them just sort of old-fashioned, aren't they? Sort of go through the generations.
Yeah. I mean, I make up things on stage. I do a lot of stuff off the cuff. I suppose 90% of my act is now stories of what's happened to me, with the odd little joke thrown in.
Just chatting on stage.
Yeah, chatting. I go on and spend the first 60 minutes apologising to Richard Bacon.
What does Stephen Fry mean when he said, I'd hate to meet Jim Davidson and find out he's a nice bloke?
Well, he's obviously talking about perception, isn't he? He's talking of the perception of Jim Davidson, the comic. It must be Jim Davidson, the man. So he's saying, I don't like what he stands for. I don't like what he talks about. And I'd hate to like him. I tapped him on the shoulder at a dinner. I said, I'm quite a nice bloke. Oh, darling, sit down. So I did, and we had a good old chat about cricket.
Did you?
I think he's just been awarded a knighthood, hasn't he?
I don't know. Sir Stephen
I think
Fry.
he has, yeah. Sir Stephen.
The knighthood thing, I think, is weird anyway. Who's deciding that? Have you got one?
No, I'm an officer of the British Empire, OBE.
OBE. Was that a proud moment?
Yeah, pretty good.
Did you meet the royals?
The Prince of Wales gave it to me.
Which one was that? Charles?
Charles. This is year 2001. I was given it by Tony Blair, would you believe?
Right, bloody hell.
I know. I started a dialogue with Tony Blair. I wrote a funny, shitty letter to him when he did this thing on the Houses of Parliament or whatever it was, saying family values and this and it's because I don't impress him, but it's the parents have got to take control of the children. And 2 nights later, his kid got arrested in Leicester Square for being pissed and punching. So something happened.
Really?
Yeah. So I wrote to him. I said, "What a lovely speech," and I said to him, I'm obviously a conservative and hate your guts, but I really felt for you as you wriggled out of that one. And he wrote back. And then I wrote to him because I formed a charity called the British Forces Foundation. So when I went entertaining the troops everywhere, and I was in Basra the day the war ended. So we all took our flak jackets off, and I was walking through Basra marketplace with a film crew, and I was mobbed by Iraqi people saying, "Thank you for coming." I thought, Jesus Christ, big break, or the generation game's been on in Baghdad.
Yeah.
Surely not. They thought I was Tony Blair.
Oh.
They really thought I was Tony Blair. I swear to God. Thank you. And in the end, I just put up with it. I said, no, I'm not him. And then I went, oh, thank you. Sherry sends her love. I thought, fuck, I could be assassinated. So I wrote to him and told him. And strangely enough, he wrote, we then swapped letters with one another. It's bizarre.
You become mates?
No, that's the bridge too far. I don't think you'd become mates with people that famous. You know, they're probably using me as much as I was using him. And then he wrote to me and said, who's the bloke who did that song, the theme from Robin Hood? Here we go. Who's that bloke again? Brian Adams?
Right.
Brian Adams wants to do a show for the troops in Iraq. Can you lot arrange it? And I said, where would we be doing this? And he said, in a barracks. I said, Prime Minister, what would we be celebrating? There's people in Iraq are poor, starving. They're killing themselves trying to dig up the copper electricity cables. Wouldn't it be better if we did it for everybody? So when I disagreed with him, I then got a letter from one of his people. And that was the last correspondence I had with Tony Blair. Well, I got an OBE.
Why were you like a fixer for Brian Adams?
Well, because I was in charge of British troop entertaining worldwide with the British Forces Foundation.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
Because if it was just him saying, can you just get me Brian Adams? And then it would be a bit weird.
Yes, Prime Minister, running all the way. Running all the way, Gov.
Is it true you started when a regular pub comedian it didn't turn up?
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
How did you know what to say?
Well, I didn't. But I had a couple of pints of lager and a couple of nosefuls of amphetamine sulfate. Yeah. And on I went.
What did you say?
I just went on and did a load of Jimmy Jones's jokes because I used to go and see Jimmy Jones, a great comedian. Funny enough, he signed for my TV studio now. He's 84.
Wow.
So I just went and told a load of jokes. I had some stimulants and on I went and told a load of jokes. And then they said, that was really good. Come and do it next Sunday. So I did. And then I got a job in a pub in Lewisham telling jokes. £6 I got. For Sunday lunchtime spot, £6.
So again, but that's like you could probably buy a house for £6. That's what I'm thinking.
I had two wives on the strength for that. No, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun. And there's a funny story about that first gig in the Black Bull in Lewisham. Sunday lunchtime, I turned up. There was nobody there at all, apart from a blonde woman, disc jockey, and her name was Linda Regan. And you might have seen her on Facebook at the moment. Her husband was Brian Murphy, the one that was in Youth of Joyce and Brian Murphy.
Don't know.
Actor. He just passed away. And she's now a famous novelist. And she was my first ever audience. I played just to her, the disc jockey. And then a load of black guys came in, about 20 of them, a football team.
Yeah.
So I steamed into them and loved it. And that was it. And that was really the drug of people laughing at me and liking me. It wasn't about the £6.
It felt good.
Yeah, still does.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that, I mean, they say, don't they, that comedians have often got a lot of insecurity issues and things like that.
Well, it's a lot to compete with, isn't it? You have, 1,200 people or 1,000 people laughing their heads off and loving you and standing up and begging you not to leave the stage. And then you go home to a cold bum and, what then?
Yeah. No, I get that. And that was a time, of course, where you say the sort of black people came in and you sort of had a laugh with them.
Yeah.
And that all changed. I guess it feels very quickly.
Yeah, banned black people since.
They banned black people?
No, I don't think it's changed. It's just people... No, I don't think it's changed.
But people can't seem to laugh at themselves. They can't laugh.
They do. Black people come and see me and piss themselves.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Though.
Yeah. You mustn't say this and you mustn't say that. Yeah, black people and Indian people and anyone that's not a white average person has to be wrapped in cotton wool by the lefties.
Yeah.
They just leave us all alone and we'll all get on.
You know what's sad is I'm from a Jewish family. I used to laugh at jokes about Jews. I could laugh easily about people make jokes about Jews because it's funny. Obviously, some people are not laughing with you. They're laughing, but they're laughing with you. But then you get all this stuff from the left where suddenly you can't laugh at anyone. So I think, well, why are you laughing? And now I'm not laughing at jokes about Jews, and I think that's sad. Do you know what I mean?
I never told jokes about Jews. You know why? They didn't have a particular accent that I could do. I couldn't.
There's an accent, though.
Yeah, there was that sort of, but I couldn't quite grasp it. I couldn't quite get it. So I changed all the Jewish jokes into Scottish jokes.
Did you?
Yeah. The Irish jokes I turned into thick policemen.
Did you?
Instead of these two Irishmen walking down the road, it was these two policemen.
Can you not do Irish?
Well, I stopped doing it because everyone was doing Irish jokes. It wasn't like you mustn't do that, you mustn't do this. The black stuff was just a ridiculous accent, really. Yeah. And this Chalky, that character Chalky, came from Blackpool. Little and Large were top of the bill. Frank Carson second. All these people you don't know.
No.
And then I was doing this accent, ridiculous West Indian accent from Southeast London. And the director said, about this, why don't you make this one person, make a little character? And I was never one of them character people, not a Harry Enfield. I just told jokes. And so I invented this guy called Chalky. He was never Chalky White, just called Chalky, obviously a play on the fact that he was black. Yeah. And he was always the winner. He always had a bigger dick. He was always the winner. He was always the one that got it over on the policeman. He was always victimised. So a lot of the jokes were about racists. They weren't racist jokes. But of course, how's your friend Chalky? Racist.
That's probably the thing that's followed you around more than anything else, is it? The Chalky stuff?
Yeah, that and I think so. I had a bit of homophobia at one stage.
Yeah, you came down with a bit of homophobia.
Okay, I came down with a bit of it.
A touch of the homophobias.
Yeah, I know. Couldn't sit down for a month.
I was thinking about the Chalky. Shut up. I was thinking about the Chalky stuff. It's a funny thing because obviously nowadays it's such a multicultural society, multi-racist, but back in the day there weren't that many people of different colours and things. And I can imagine how if a bunch of people came over suddenly when you weren't used to that and they had different accents, that is quite funny.
Yeah, accents are funny, aren't they?
Yeah, and stereotypes.
The other Chalky thing, it was Matt Letitia who played
ex-footballer.
Footballer.
Southampton.
I went down and did his testimonial thing. They all played football. There was a football match on. And we were coming back from the ground to go to stay at some hotel in Southampton. And I pulled up alongside Ian Wright.
Yeah.
The pundit Ian
I love
Wright.
him.
I love him too.
Yeah. And I'm a Spurs fan.
Are you?
Yeah. But I think even Spurs fans like Ian Wright. He's so likeable.
He is likeable. He's lovely.
Yeah.
I describe him as an Easter egg with glasses. He looks great, doesn't he? And so me and him were sort of mates, like celebrities say hello to other celebrities and footballers like that. So he pulled up I pulled up in my blue Bentley with my bald minder from Hereford, from the ex-SAS guy, right, at the lights. He pulled up in a dog knob red Bentley, almost had leopard skin seats. No, it didn't. But he had the boxing gloves hanging up there, the stereotypical boxing gloves. And his minder looked like a negative of my minder. I had Electric Light Orchestra on, blaring, and he had some boom, 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 boom. And we looked at each other like this. I was trying to be as white as possible. He was trying to be as black as possible. And we spontaneously burst into laughter. We go in the bar for a drink, and he's come up to me and he said this. Yeah. He said, why don't you do Chalky no more?
Did he?
Yeah, he did. And I used to piss myself with Chalky, fucking great. And I said, the reason is, mate, I said, black blokes like you don't speak with West Indian accents anymore. He said, that's right. We fucked your act up because we're saying the same as you white people and that, innit?
Yeah.
Bit my lip. Because I had so much respect for him.
Oh, he's great. He's
great.
You see that thing where he's cried about Mr. Pigeon or something? Mr. Pidgley, he had a teacher. It's one of the bits. It's got millions of views on YouTube.
Yeah.
He thought his
how he
teacher
helped him.
He thought he was dead, and then he turns up and he's crying. It's really emotional.
He is a nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I do like him. And then I won't go into that. There's a whole thing about it. There's a lot of people on the right, are people of different ethnicities, are they English? And it's a sort of big thing. I don't know if we need to go into all of that. But
yeah, we do.
We do.
Of course he's English.
So for you he is. Yeah, I think he is as well. And I got a lot of viewers.
Listen, mate, to have a great cake, you've got to have lots of different ingredients.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
But you don't want ingredients coming from elsewhere and just jumping in. You know what I mean? They got to be on the menu.
Well, that's the point, though, because obviously when you started, that was sort of new, and that was what you
yeah, but there was no immigration or problems like that then. There were black people that sounded different to white people. When I went to school in Charlton, there was two black guys. Georgie Campbell became my mate, and another guy, Benjamin. No one liked him. And Georgie spoke the same as me, but the other guy spoke with a West Indian accent. That West Indian accent's gone now, apart from the old grandmothers.
Yeah.
They sing when they speak. Don't they?
It's great, that.
I love it. I love it. Like the Jewish grandmother, Babushka.
Yeah. Mine are all dead now. But they grandparents, they're long gone.
Did you get made chicken soup when you weren't?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's a weird story my dad tells about sort of this rabbi made him eat like chicken feet or something. He wasn't happy with that.
No.
But it's sort of the old-fashioned, that's all sort of dying out as well, to be honest. But would you joke today? Would you do jokes about, and do you do jokes about Islam?
No, I don't do any jokes about Islam.
Yeah.
I lived in a Arab country for 6 years. I lived in Dubai.
Right.
Had a mosque at the bottom of the garden. That was interesting. 5:30 every month. I tell you the great thing about that, though, the old bugger had a cold for about 3 weeks. And you'd get this, and with respect to anyone, you know, he'd start his chanting, and then you hear, and then when he switched the thing off, it must have been an old valve set because it powered down. So you hear all this wonderful blasts of prayer and rejoicing, and then you switched it off and you heard this.
That's great.
That's great. I loved it. I loved living in Dubai.
Surprising they don't do just a recording and play it every morning.
They must ad lib a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same thing. I don't know if it's the same. It's a bit of scripture, isn't it? And it's a call to prayer.
Okay.
It's to remind everyone, you know, what religion is about, isn't it? It's order from chaos.
Yeah.
If you can create a religion that people believe, that's not the law, you know, not a man made this law, you know, the Almighty made this law, and if you abide by it, you will get order. The tribes will all belong to one person. They'll all belong under that Islamic religion. I think it's an interesting religion.
But, I mean, we talk about immigration. It is an issue today, and a lot of that is Islamic immigration. So why would you not joke about it?
Because I don't think it's funny. I believe in immigration. I think immigration works if it works that people bring something to your country. I mean, that's me being being me. But it's when people take out of the economy and people come here, we don't know who they are. You know, they say they're fleeing wars. They are fleeing war. I saw that Nigel Farage on the television Question Time, and Alistair Campbell was having a go. He said, don't you feel sorry for these people leaving a war zone? They're fleeing war. Well, why didn't they bring their wife and kids or their mother with them? They're all blokes, with respect, your age and younger. You don't see many old fellas with grey hair getting off them boats.
No,
these are people that just want a better life.
Which you can understand.
Well, I can understand them leaving France. How do they get into France first? So they come in at the bottom and go right to the top.
Yeah,
this way, over there to Le Mans. Voila.
You're doing an Eddie Izzard act now.
Oh, God, don't talk to me about that nutcase.
Yeah, well, we can get onto him in a bit, actually. Him?
He don't like me.
Does he not?
No.
Don't hit.
No. He turned around and frowned at me once.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Silly sod.
I had a fellow on yesterday who was the former tour manager of Oasis. And he said the band, actually, no, I need to save it for when he comes out. I'll tell you after. It's a big revelation. But it's to do with Eddie Izzard and Liam Gallagher. It's a great story. But yeah, I don't know. I worry about all that. I mean, the immigration stuff, and you're right. Where do they come? And why do they come through? Why do they have to leave France? I don't really understand why that's an emergency.
Well, they're not fleeing a war. There's no war in Armenia or Albania or Pakistan or anywhere. People just want to come here. And someone said to me, "What would you do if you were an MP? If you were in charge, how would you stop them coming?" Yeah. My mother, we used to have stray cats keep coming to the back door, and my dad said, "You know how to get rid." He was a jock, Mama. You know how to get rid of them? Stop feeding them. So we stopped feeding them, putting food out, and they all went off.
That's there. I thought you were going to say shot them or something.
No,
it's back in the day. I don't know.
Not quite that right wing yet.
Or shooting cats. Oh no, people. Sorry, yeah. No, you don't want to be shooting people. It is a hard.
Easier to shoot than cats. Then you've seen the speed them bloody cats can run. Once you hear the one bang, they'll all run off.
Yeah, that's true. You can't do that.
No, I think we're just a bit of a soft touch, and we can't afford it. We're going to go to skint.
Yeah.
We're going to be part of Russia soon anyway, or America.
Do you feel quite pessimistic?
I don't. I think we have a nuclear deterrent, and I think that's exactly what it is, a deterrent. I don't think we can put boots on the ground. I've done a lot of work with the military, and yeah, our guys, pound for pound, are the best soldier in the world. Anyone will tell you that. But our tank needs an MOT. We've got about half a dozen aeroplanes. The Red Arrows are now 2 of them. It's a joke. We haven't got enough stuff. And I don't understand why Keir Starmer is saying we're going to put boots on the ground. And he's now, I don't know if it's fake news or not, but he's said somewhere that one of our nuclear submarines could vaporize 60 Russian cities instantly. Why do we want to start doing stuff like that? It's crazy. It is mutual assured destruction, isn't it? Mad.
Or just a deterrent, as you say.
It is a deterrent, yeah, and it costs a fortune, and we get it off the Yanks. It's a Yank deterrent that we pay for.
It is mad.
And it comes out of our defence budget. everyone I spoke to at the top of the military of saying we should take that out. I don't know what reform have got in mind.
But then we wouldn't have a deterrent, and then Russia could just.
No, it should be paid separately.
Oh.
It shouldn't be part of the Ministry of Defence. It should be a deterrent. Let's say it costs 20 billion a year to keep going. I'm just picking a figure. That 20 billion shouldn't deter us from buying tanks and having more people, boots on the ground, etc., etc. Should be different.
I see what you're saying. A different budget kind of thing.
Yeah.
Going back to you, you went from being, one of the most beloved TV comedians. How did it feel as it's the sort of cancel culture rose and the news stopped? How were you perceived differently by the media, I suppose?
Well, it didn't bother me that much because I thought it was their problem. I thought it was them that were, they're wrong, they're mad. Okay, It didn't really bother me. I'd already done. Though. Yeah, well, it was a bit sad, especially with the BBC left a bit bad taste. I did the Generation Game for 7 years. Okay, I got bigger ratings than anything. And then they decided, some woman turned up, and I had a series of Big Break to do and a series of the Generation Game. They said, we don't want that. And my manager said, well, you've got to pay him. So they gave me £1 million and said, please don't tell anybody. We don't want to get in trouble. We'll give you £1 million to go away. So, went and bought a new boat. And that was that. And now when they do a best of the Generation Game, they don't mention me. I'm totally, and now because of my TV channel, we're trying to buy some of the BBC. No, we don't want that. Wouldn't be. It's not the right platform for a BBC show. Well, hang on a minute. It's starring me. No, wow. They don't want to know.
So you've been, effectively disfellowshipped.
Yeah.
That hurts.
It's silly. It doesn't hurt me because I don't like the BBC, but I don't like them because they don't like me. I don't like it when a couple of people at the top, the Janet Street Porter types, decide what viewers can see or not.
Yeah. Yeah, but you must have when you started out, it must have been a dream come true getting on all these TV shows.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
and then it sort of all comes down around. It's not just happened to you, it's happened to many of us.
Yeah, you do get the bit of a cancel thing going on, but you just got to deal with that. That's part of the job. Just deal with it. Wipe your mouth and get on. Now, my chores are always packed. Mm-hmm. I settled deep when DVDs. I was the biggest. Me and Jeffro were the biggest selling DVD people. Forever.
What does that say to you about the disconnect then between the likes of the BBC and the actual public at large?
Well, there seems to be this Highgate elite, isn't there, that decides what people can watch and what they can't. There's a guy. I used to play the Mayflower down in Southampton. I played the O2 this time instead. And he turned up and he said to the outgoing manager, who's a friend of mine, Jim Davidson will work here over my dead body. And he said, why? He said, I don't like him. And that was it. So one man decides what the whole of Southampton can watch. So that's annoying.
Yeah, it's not on. Have you ever said, I don't want to work, I won't work with this fellow? Or
No.
It's just an odd thing to do, to think you've got enough power.
I shagged his wife.
Did you?
No. But I'd like to apologise to anybody in the world who might think that.
Or whose wives you did.
So I played the O2 in Southampton, just across the road from it. Sold it out. It's great. But it's annoying. It's annoying. I get banned from lots of places.
I'm trying to work out to what extent you've had to sort of build a sort of bravado of well, screw them, and to what extent they really were sort of...
It is annoying. And it's also economically annoying.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They're preventing you from earning what you should or could be earning.
Yeah, there's a chain of theatres called the Ambassador Theatre Group, and I've been working with them for years and years and years. And someone at head office said, "Oh, Jim Davidson in Torquay. Oh no, we don't want him." Something he said on Ustreme about diversity.
But the things you say, you've even just in this interview,
people are too touchy, aren't they?
I think so.
It's always people that lean to the left a little bit. No offence.
The cancel culture stuff. Was that always the way? Was there cancel culture things 20, 30, 40 years ago?
No.
Sort of. Yeah.
No.
That might have been the right though.
Economically, you would say, we don't want you to play 2 shows this year, just play the 1. Then you start to realise you've got to get your game up a bit. See, an audience will never leave. An audience will leave you 1 row at a time. You don't suddenly wake up and no one wants to see you anymore. You've got to, you've got to gauge it a little bit. Where now we're putting in extra shows next year and playing 2 nights everywhere and 3 nights here and there. Because people want to decide themselves what they want to see and what they don't. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. The most people who don't like me have never seen me.
Do you think a lot of the cancel culture might have come from the right back in the day, sort of the Monty Python kind of stuff?
I don't follow what you mean.
Life of Brian, when that came out, I think a lot of the religious right.
Oh, the religious people all went a bit mad, didn't they, really? I was on Malcolm Muggeridge. Remember old Malcolm Muggeridge? He was having a go at John Cleese once, and John Cleese said, it's not about Christ, it's about Brian. You know? Yeah, righto, John. Biggest dickus.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Did you know those guys?
I met Michael Palin at Barry Cryer's house once. Hello.
Yeah.
They're all right. And then that's it then, because, I come from southeast London. I left school at 15 and he went to university. He's much cleverer than what I is in it. Nowadays, there aren't that many comedians, particularly comedians who are loud on TV and things. I can only think of maybe John Cleese and Ricky Gervais. There's not that many who will say a lot of the things that you're saying. Yeah, but I don't think they think like me. I don't think John Cleese is a bit of a liberal, isn't he? John Cleese is very happy with himself and pleased with himself. I remember he did some adverts when for the liberal Lib Dems or whatever.
He's quite anti-diversity and things like that now.
Is he?
Yeah. He's turned.
He's gone. Yeah. He's turned. Is he? I think he turned because he must have turned to get an audience. If I have to be ever so careful. I have to play to character. I have to play to perception. I can't go on and say, hang on a minute. I think immigration's okay. What?
Yeah.
People will take the chunk of what you say out. They'll take a chunk out. They'll miss the bits out to change it round so they create their own narrative. And no matter how much evidence you produce, you can never convince an idiot.
I know. No one's convinced me yet. They just won't do it.
Wasn't talking about you.
No, I know. Were you at the BBC when Savile was roaming about? What was he like?
He used to run off. We used to hear him. Now then, and you thought, fuck me, it's Savile. And you didn't think I was going to grab me bum or, shag me granddaughter. He was boring. Yeah. Talk like, and he came and did my TV show, The Generation Game, once. It was great. Great. I'll tell you a story about Savile. I was at a do at Sandhurst, and the Prince of Wales was the patron of my charity, the British Voices Foundation. Sat on the top table. Spike Milligan came in, and the Prince got up and spoke to him and all this stuff. And then, now then, how's about that? Coming down the bit behind the top table, where all the seats out there, was Jimmy Savile in a newspaper suit. Yeah, and he said, and pushed me to one side and sat down in between me and the Prince of Wales, uninvited.
You must have been livid.
And the Prince of Wales was looking over his shoulder at me when he said, now then, and another thing we can do about this and take all those people up there, did you know that we can go? And the Prince of Wales looking over his shoulder at me doing this. And they said he was a great mate. He hated him.
Really? Because he has been accused of, the royals have been accused.
He get accused of everything. I got accused of going to visit Gary Glitter in prison.
And did that not happen?
No, I'll tell you the story.
Yes.
I also formed another charity which is still going they're both still going, Care After Combat. The idea was that we'd help people, veterans and soldiers that are in danger of entering the criminal justice system, basically being nicked. And if you do the crime, you do the time. So we used to go and see them in prison and find out how they're all doing and get them a mentor, bring them in, pal them up. And when they come out, mentor stays with them for 3 years. So I went to HMP The Verne, which is a sex offenders clinic. Now, this is different. You don't give these guys mentors. So these were veterans who are on the sex offenders thing. Sat them down, about 30 guys, said, look, we don't quite know what to do. Give us your story. You're going to come out of here one day. We're not going to give you a mentor. And it was that type of thing to work out.
Awkward, isn't it?
How to stop reoffending. Knock at the door. There's a Paul Gadd outside wants to come in. Who? Paul Gadd. So let me go out and have a look. Open the door. There he is. Gary Glitter. And I said, hello. He said, Jim, and he took his bobble hat off to a bald head as if it made a difference. He said, it's me, Gary. I said, oh, hello. He said, can I come in? I said, no, this is for veterans. This is, you can't come in.
Did you know him outside from before?
He did my TV show loads of times. I didn't go out with him. He wasn't a pal. So that was it. That was me banning Gary Glitter. So the local guys did the story. I told them the story. when the tabloids found out, and now people still say, how's your mate Gary Glitter? Jim Davidson went to visit Gary Glitter in prison. So, you know, that's the really annoying thing. I don't mind being cancelled, but I hate being accused of anything I haven't done. Even if you left the milk out, I fucking didn't. You know, so that was really annoying. He wasn't my mate. I didn't go and visit him. It's bizarre, isn't it? And there's nothing you can do about that then, because if you keep saying I didn't, oh, well, there you go. He did.
Yeah. What was it he did? It was a lot of kids stuff, children.
I don't know what it was. There was something on his computer, wasn't there? Or there's something in Thailand. I only read the same as what you do.
Yeah, the Thailand stuff. It's I think there's a lot of guys out in Thailand doing that. I don't know. And yeah, the sort of a stereotype. They go out there, and I don't even want to know about what they do. But no. So Savile, you didn't sort of see getting up to stuff.
I got arrested for Operation Yewtree.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that was a bit scary.
So that was related to adult accusations, wasn't it?
Yeah. The policeman said to me as he shut the cell door, I swear to God, I don't think I've told anyone this. He said, Jim, don't worry, yours is not underage sex. All yours are old slappers.
Oh, my God.
I felt like saying, okay, I did it.
Tell you what, though.
No, mine were all adults, yeah.
That is a lot better. I mean, as far as accusations false or true, and it shouldn't be under the same operation. They shouldn't be called Yewtree.
I know. I think Esther Ranson said that in an article. I thought that Operation Yewtree was to sort of swipe up the paedophile type people.
Yeah. And then
you still get people have a go. And as I'm saying, no matter how much evidence you give someone, you can never convince an idiot.
People will think that you were involved in that whole thing. That's actually not right.
Well, I was involved in being arrested, but so was Jimmy Tarbuck, you know.
Don't know those.
And Cliff Richard called me and said, Jim, me and Paul Gambaccini and a couple of others, we're going to sue the police. Great impression, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to sue the police. You want to come in with us? And I said, no, I don't want to sue the police. I think the police were only doing their job. It was a political thing. It was Keir Starmer who started it all.
Was it?
Yeah. He was director of public prosecutions or whatever it was then. Then he left and a woman called Alison, whatever. She took over and it all went away. I wasn't charged at all. I wasn't charged. And he said, well, how are you going to make any money back? You cancelled your tour and everything. And I said, well, I'm going to write a book. And I did. I wrote a book called No Further Action, and it still sells on the website, ustreme.com.
Do you worry about the Streisand effect? You know the Streisand effect?
No.
Barbara Streisand, when I think she sued or she complained when somebody had put a photo of her house in the newspaper because she didn't want people seeing it. And because she complained about it.
It went in every newspaper.
It's a Streisand effect.
No, I don't mind. It happened. I was arrested by the operation. Actually, they weren't Operation Yewtree coppers that arrested me. They were some form of other thing. They were scooping up everybody. As Bobby Davro, my old mate, said, he said the sex offenders list or the 2013 Radio Times or TV Times. Yeah, it was one of those things that I knew I hadn't done any of it. And Henry Brandman, my lawyer, and I, and the QC, we got all the evidence together, give it to the police, and they said, "Ooh, okay, fine." And they actually said to save us doing it, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's mad that you had a really crazy year, sort of a movie worth. It could be a movie of that you were arrested and then you went on Celebrity Big Brother.
No, I was on the way to Celebrity Big Brother.
That's right.
Right. So I was about to do Celebrity Big Brother. I'll tell you who it was. Channel 5 was owned by Richard Desmond. Okay. Right. He owned the Daily Express and all these other things. And Richard Desmond, a nice, kosher boy. Oh, and he called me to his office. He said, Jim, I bought Channel 5. I bought Channel 5. I said, I heard. Yeah, he said, I want to put you on. What do you want to do? You want to do the generation game? You want to do this? You want a chat show, upset everybody? I mean, he really is a caricature, barrow boy, Jewish. He said, do this? Okay, fucking show these fucking people.
Alan Sugar kind of thing.
Yeah, worse, worse. Yeah. And he said to me, right, we'll do a chat show. And there's all these proper people taking notes. And he's a madman. He's got a drum kit in the corner. He's got his own chef stuff. He's power mad. And he said to me, right, good, that's it. Let me know what you want to do. Oh, but I need a favour from you. I said, what's that? He said, I bought the rights to Big Brother. Now, and I'm going to put you in Big Brother, pay you a fortune, fill it full of crumpet and find a poof for you to upset. Okay?
He said that?
Yeah, I swear to God. I said,
You did upset a gay person, as one said, didn't you?
oh, yeah, Brian. Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell, tell her that to that idiot.
Remember that now.
Yeah, idiot. It was all edited.
Yeah.
But they said to me in Hell's Kitchen, I said something to this Brian who was, I hated it. I hated him. I hated all of it. I only did it because Marco Pierre White asked me, he said, Jim, I'm going back in the kitchen. I'm going back in the kitchen first time in 7 years. And to do Hell's Kitchen, will you come with me and do it? I said, yeah. The next day, my manager called me. I was in Dubai. He said, have you told the people you're going to do Hell's Kitchen? Oh, what's happened? Well, Marco Pierre White has called the producer and said, you want to do it? I said, well, tell him, no, I don't want to do it. I just told him I'd do it.
Yeah.
He said, well, we'll ask for so much money, they'll say no. And the bastard said, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I turned up and they blah, blah, blah happened. So they called me up and the producer, who used to be one of the runners on the Generation game, she's about that big and a 12, said, Jim, what you've said, I said, look, I'm leaving, I can't bear it anymore. He said, well, we were going to ask you to leave anyway because what you've said could upset viewers. I said, well, edit that bit out. He said, pardon? I said, if you're so worried that it's going to upset viewers, surely you'll edit that bit out.
Yeah.
That was it. They didn't edit it out. They actually edited it to make it look worse. So good for them. That's what I would do if I was a producer. That's what you would do too.
So what they really want is they do want to upset viewers, but they want to have your head on the plate.
Yeah, exactly. But I got paid.
Well, then fair enough.
I said, I'm never doing it again. And then along comes Big Brother. So I'm on my way. So I'm now going off to do Big Brother.
You never thought you'd win that?
No, this was the one where I got arrested.
Oh, sorry, the year after.
Yeah. So I'm in Glasgow, in my house in Glasgow. Jock family. And so they said, the 12-year-old producer, right, your code name's going to be Jellied Eels. Okay, fair enough. And if you're flying down to Heathrow, we'll pick you up at Heathrow, but we want you to wear something where no one can see you, like a hood. Have you got a hood? I had my fishing jacket, right? So I put my fishing jacket on. I got to Heathrow, and my PA called me and said, the police want to come and arrest you. I put him on the phone. Hello? He said, Jim Davidson? Yeah. He said, this is a PC so-and-so from Operation Yewtree. I bet you've been expecting us, haven't you? I said, no, I fucking haven't. And he said, where are you? I said, you're a good detective, aren't you? I said, I'm at Heathrow. He said, well, don't go anywhere. We want to come and get you. So I had to sit there and wait like that for them to come and get me in Heathrow.
You must have been shitting
And they couldn't find me. I'm doing this. Here I am. So they take me in the car, read me the Miranda rights, whatever, sexual assault to some woman I've never fucking heard of. And we're going off to a police station. They get lost. They had to stop and ask someone. You couldn't make it up. So when they're searching me, the station sergeant at Heathrow, who doesn't know these guys from Adam, but he obviously knows me, he's doing this. He's taking all the things down. Empty your pockets. So I emptied my pockets and they took my fishing jacket off, put my hand in the pocket, and in the bottom of it is a piece of artificial sweet corn. Now, any fisherman will tell you that. You throw real sweet corn in, and they eat that, but you put a false one on the hook so it doesn't come off. And it's in my pocket. And this policeman went, one of the operation unit, what is that? And I said, it's a sweetie. Station sergeant started laughing. They didn't think it was funny at all.
Bloody hell.
That was it.
But you must have been shitting yourself as well.
No, not then. I wasn't, because I knew I hadn't done it. I knew I hadn't done anything. No, I'm not worried about that. I hadn't done anything. Is it what I wanted? I loved being interviewed by them. I sort of developed a sort of a Stockholm syndrome. When they called me and said, can you come in? Yeah, I'd fucking run down there again. Ask me anything. And so they asked me a question, and then I'd go off and give them so many answers. And I said, do you just want me to carry on? You stop me whenever you want and ask me some more things. They loved it.
Was there any truth in the allegation? Was it sort of women you hadn't
bollocks?
But was it like, oh, she didn't enjoy the date, and now she said it was?
No, I didn't know them.
You didn't even know them?
One woman I knew.
Okay.
Yeah, and one woman I remembered as well, a journalist. But they were silly. One of them was I twanged a girl's suspender belt through her skirt in 1977. He said, "Do you remember that?" I said, "Are you mad?" He said, "Is it something you would do?" Yeah.
People are probably, because they're thinking, right, because how many times because your lovely fiance's here, is that sixth, the sixth wife. She'll be the most important
and
one.
guess where we're getting married?
I'm trying to think of a funny...
Who had 6 wives?
Henry VIII.
Where was his palace?
Hampton Court?
Yep, Hampton Court. Next March.
Got a panic there in case I don't know and I'll get shown up. We'd have to edit in that I got Hampton Court.
Dave Chappelle. Yeah.
That was before we started. We were trying to think who that guy was.
Who was it? Jim said he got his Hampton Court. Hampton Court Palace.
Gervais said that. You've stolen his joke. Hampton got his Hampton Court.
Yes.
I think Gervais said he went to the toilets there and it said, "Don't get your Hampton Court." Someone had graffitied it. Yeah. That's what people do. 6. Well, what does that say something about you? Is there sort of disorder of you're joking about narcissism, but is there something?
I don't understand what narcissism means. You read it or you read it. I'm everything.
Do you think
I'm ADHD,
Yep.
DCFC, CAFC, Charlton Athletic Football Club.
Yep.
Everyone's now got letters after their names. I've got PTSD. I've got ADH fucking D. What do you call me? What she called me? Jim Davidson, OBE. ATM.
Giving the money.
Get some more shopping. Expresses me nose and tenants come out.
But is there something about your personality that was always a bit different to other people? Is there something?
No, I'm a comedian. I'm just an insecure arsehole that gets his kicks out of thousands of people loving me. It's very shallow and it lasts 2 seconds.
And then you need more.
So you need, I need to be loved and I need to love. And I can sort of sniff wrongly when people go off me. I sort of pride myself of being astute, but it's slightly false, driven by the insecurities, I guess. False. So marry me, then you won't leave me.
But right. So you
promise?
Do you mean you sort of go into it too early? You don't think about whether it's actual love or it's actually right?
Yeah.
And it's just, I've got...
Yeah, take them hostage.
Someone will have me.
Take it. Yeah, she'll have me. She'll do.
Is it she'll have me?
I'm going to be killed. I'm going to be killed. As soon as you stop speaking to me, I'm going to be killed.
Well, now it might be different. You know, you're wiser and all of those things. No. But over those the first 5 or so, I mean...
Listen, mate, I fell in love. What can you do?
Yeah.
I am in love.
Are you?
I can't imagine life without her.
You got to say that. She's right over there.
No, I can't. My whole life is... to the detriment of a lot of other things. You know, I don't see my mates anymore. I don't play golf. I don't go out on the boat as often as I did. Don't shag any other women. It's fucking awful. You won't tell anyone that, will you?
Blink twice if you're in trouble. I remember you've told Piers Morgan that it was traumatic, the Yewtree stuff. Because that's it. You got to talk with a bit of bravado, right, about it all. But this was...
I was frightened to death because I thought it was a done deal.
There you go.
Yeah, I thought that it's a done deal.
Exactly.
Because they got it so wrong. And when we told them, So one woman, and this is in the book, Ustreme.com, 1999, she said that she came to the London Palladium, blah, 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 got let in, did this, did that. She dropped her bag and she bent down, I got my dick out, and et cetera, et cetera. So we proved it's impossible. Her dates, there's in between this and that and there, she had a description of the place and whatever. So we told the police. I got statements from the guy who used to run the London Palladium. He was 91 years of age on his sick bed doing a statement for us. Did a few other little bits and pieces about this person, presented it to the police. And 2 weeks later, they phoned back and said, "Can you come in again? She's remembered it wasn't the Palladium, it was somewhere else." So we sat down. I said, "You must have told that girl that her story was completely wrong and to make another one up." "No, honestly, I swear to God, we never said it. She came to us." I said, "Do you fucking expect me to remember that?" I said, I could have sat here, said nothing, took you to court and made you look a complete tit. Is that what you want me to do, or do you want me to tell you the truth? But don't go back and say, "Oh, he's proved your story wrong, make another one up." That's slightly not fair, is it? Again, you see, it's the unfairness that pissed me off. And I thought this is a done deal. This really is that no matter what I do, I'm fucked.
That would have been the end of you.
You look a bit like Al Pacino. Has anyone ever told you that?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. Hoo-ha! Hoo-ha!
Why don't we do the scene in Heat with De Niro?
I don't know the lines.
There's a flip
side. Have people told you look like De Niro?
No.
I'm seeing it now suddenly that you said Pacino.
I look more like Lenny Henry than De Niro. There's a flip side to this.
Oh, wow. This was an excuse for you to do your amazing De Niro accent. That's what this was about. You tell everyone they look like Pacino. It just so happens you stumbled across someone who does.
You look like Pacino as well. You look like... Actually, who do you look like?
He's scary. My producer, Michal.
No, you look like that golfer.
Oh, no one knows golfers.
No, you're right. You look nothing like him.
Oh, right, well, there you go. I get Hugh Grant. That's the other one.
It's the Barnet.
Yeah.
That's all.
It is, yeah.
I like Hugh Grant.
Right. Does that mean you don't like me?
I do like
you. You don't look like Hugh Grant. I like Hugh Grant.
Yeah, sorry.
Who said that? Katie Hopkins.
You're much too bright for me. Katie Hopkins.
Katie Hopkins said to me, she was sat there a few weeks ago, and she said, she got annoyed at me. She didn't like a question I asked. I asked her, she talked about being cancelled, and I said, did it make you sad? And I think she thought I was taking the piss. I wasn't. She got very upset with me. And I said, was that because I reminded you of John Ronson, who had asked her a few things as a writer? And she said, no, you're nothing like John Ronson. He's very intelligent.
Oh. Yeah. I think what is happening with her is now she's doing live shows.
Yeah.
So I believe she is developing a way of dealing with stuff on the hoof. You know what I mean? So ad-libbing and people talking and whatever. And she wants to make it humorous as well. That's the difference between someone with a view like her, who's not a comedian. She has a view. Yeah. Where a comedian with a point of view is, you can say, oh, no, that's just me being funny. I mean, Ricky Gervais, does he really believe everything he talks about? No, he said to me, Jim, I'm in danger of turning into you, you know.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
That's great. That's so interesting that he must be very self-aware.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Apart from his delivery.
I think he's good.
I think he's good. I don't think he's a great comic.
You don't?
No.
I think it means...
I told him that.
It means a lot to him, the comedy, because I've heard him talk about stand-up.
Oh, he has a style, and he's getting much better now. I mean, if you look at him at the award shows, he's great.
The Golden Globe stuff,
yeah,
wow.
But as a stand-up comic, he's got much, much, much better.
Okay.
You know, and I didn't like that thing he did, The Office.
You didn't like The Office?
I don't like cringe.
Have you given it a proper go, though?
Yeah, I've tried to have a go. Do you know what else I don't like? And I've given it 3 goes. Last night, I gave it 3 more goes. Adolescence.
I didn't like Adolescence.
It's the west, the fucking west, up the fucking park. And I thought, come on, Jim, stop it. They're Scousers, that's the way they talk.
That's how they talk.
But that camera work was just such a wank.
You think it was, yeah.
It was the director. Look at me, I'm wanking. We were both saying that. Do we really want to see the back of someone's head as they walk down a corridor and follow them up the stairs and through a keyhole and in the fuck? No.
But for those listening on audio, Jim Davidson is not masturbating now. He was doing an impression of director. I just want the audio listeners to know.
Pointless masturbating at my age. I just get a puff of dust. But anyway, you can edit that out.
I'm not editing that out.
No, okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
Look, adolescence. Look, a lot of people had an issue with that because we've seen the crime statistics, and it doesn't compute that a white kid, good-looking white kid, who's funny and interesting, charismatic, from a family with a mum and a dad, both present.
They were Scousers, though.
They were Scousers, but they'd moved to Doncaster. I think
where it was? Doncaster?
I think it was Doncaster.
I didn't quite get it. They had more accents in it than Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, they were moving about. I don't know. Yeah. But they were a very happy, loving family, and I thought, no, I'm not.
It was based on a black kid, wasn't it?
It was, and that's what people are pissed
off. People are saying now, the writers are saying, no, it wasn't.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe it wasn't then.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I get it come up on my auto cue when I do my show, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, let's get your facts right. But most of the crime with knives and stuff like that are black guys fighting one another.
I think that is statistically correct.
Yeah.
So it's just I know people get upset with it, but
I don't quite know. Just arrest people. Yeah. Why aren't the police arresting people? Do you know what? There's this thing going on now about who's called for a public inquiry about the rape gangs and all the rest of it. I was speaking to Vicky about this today because I was looking at some of the scripts I was going to do on my show. And I'm not a great lover of public inquiries because I don't think they deliver anything. They take forever to do stuff. And they said, well, it's for the victims, of these rape. Well, hang on a minute. If you want to do something without wasting money, get the police constables in and say, fucking sort it. Arrest these people. Go deeper into it. Don't worry about what colour or race or whatever.
Yeah.
Arrest people.
Yeah.
And now, of course, we've got this 2-tier justice system that's coming out. It's only going to last about 3 days, they reckon.
Pre-sentencing.
Yeah. And so it is 2-tier justice.
Yeah.
But now it's going to stop. They've put something in this.
Have they put an end to it?
Yeah.
I heard Starmer was saying he wouldn't rule that out.
No, it's about 4 days it's going to last because they can't get it in time. The bill's going to be passed and then they're going to stop it. Oh, it's crazy. They don't know what they're doing this Friday. It's her, the ginger growler on the front row. She drives me mad.
Who's that? Angela Rayner?
Yeah.
God. It is mad. I know we talked about Islam, and I know you're saying you like aspects of Islam. I thought the prayer thing and all that. Yeah. That's one of my biggest concerns, seeing that.
The threat of Islam?
I think so, yeah.
I think the threat of anybody.
Yeah, well.
The threat of anybody. And of course, because you're Jewish, it is this thing that's going on with Gaza, Palestine, Israel.
Yeah. You get linked to it.
And everyone else just can't wait to get involved, can they?
I know.
Trump, and I'll tell you what we do, we'll sort you out, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Because there's more Jews in New York than there are in Israel. And that's where the vote lies.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't understand how Hamas and everyone can sort of parachute into Israel, murder and kill 1,700 people and say, weren't us. They started it 100 years ago.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they are saying it wasn't us. Oh, I get what you're saying. They're saying we didn't start it, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. We're getting Douglas Murray on. Do you know Douglas Murray?
I like him.
Yeah, he's good. I started reading his new book, and he goes into detail about everything that happened on that attack.
But yes, but you watch him turn into a performer. After a while, he will then realise there is some value in me talking and doing stuff and whatever. So they become the informed comedian without jokes, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I love listening to him. I think he's fantastic.
Great speaker, isn't he?
Well, because he is. He is great. And he's great the way he delivers facts. Mm-hmm. And you can see these people that stand there and say, excuse me, I want to dance. American girls, I literally just listen to you, literally. And he gives them the facts, and they don't take it in. They just fuck off.
He's like
but it's still in there. It's what I'm saying. You can give everyone the facts. You can't convince an idiot.
He's like a posh Tommy Robinson in some respects.
I've never met Tommy Robinson.
I had him on the show. I went out to his hideaway in Spain. And
he's got hideaways.
He was in a
very patriotic, is it?
Before he got it's the most English thing you can do now, because he was in what's it, Benidorm. So I mean, there's nothing more English than going out to Benidorm, is there? I went down the street in Benidorm with him, and everybody's, Tommy, everyone, Tommy. Didn't hear a Spanish accent within about 5 miles.
They say he's been locked up for speaking his mind. Poor bugger's been locked up for contempt of court, basically. They said you mustn't do that, and he did it.
He shouldn't have done that.
But he's got a lot of followers, and he talks a lot. I can understand how frustrated he must be to see the way the country's gone.
Because he predicted it.
Yeah, well,
There's been a lot of...
Should he be locked up in solitary? I don't know. The answer to it, I don't know the facts of it. But, there's people being locked up. What about the 6 policemen that turned up the other day at that woman's door because she complained about the teacher at school?
I've interviewed him yesterday.
Who?
The fella who they turned up at his door. In fact, it just came out while we're talking. That's just gone out on YouTube. I put it on my channel.
Brilliant.
His name's Maxie Allen.
Oh, was he a producer of something, wasn't he?
It's Times Radio.
Oh, God.
Turned up at his house because there'd been an argument on WhatsApp. So it's one of those things. It's a little bit like you with Yewtree. People go, there must be something more. I said, what was it? Because I thought maybe he'd joked in the messages.
Yeah.
Like, we should kill that guy.
Yeah, that's it. There must be something.
He says
6 coppers to turn up.
He says there was nothing like that. No, not even jokey threats. He's a very serious guy. He's quite very serious. Yeah. And he said, I once called them, I called somebody, I can't remember what it was, but it was something like a control freak. That was it. He called someone a control freak in a private WhatsApp message.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
World's gone mad.
I think it has, yeah. It's
he should just say he's gay or he's now of the Muslim faith and he won't go to prison.
Yeah.
They'll let him out. There's been no further action taken against them, haven't they?
Yeah, 8 hours though in prison.
Ridiculous. What are the police doing? 8 hours. They could have been painting rainbows on their cars in that time.
You know what? He was actually very sort of diplomatic about it, and he said, look, I don't blame the police officers. They're doing their job. They were told to do it, but who told them to come and do it?
Exactly.
That's what it's about. I want to know more about Savile. Was there more Savile stuff?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, I never got to. I didn't know.
I've heard you say he was.
None of us knew any of this stuff. None of my mates knew about him. I just thought he was a bit odd. I thought he was gay. I just thought, he's one of these people that makes out he likes all the girls because really he's a closet gay man.
That's perceptive though, because he was hiding something. So you thought that's what he's hiding.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, what was it? How did Louis Theroux seem to know? Do you remember he asked him? Louis Theroux, there was a documentary who followed Savile around and he said, what's all this about that? And then Jimmy said, oh, you mean that? I can't do the accent like you can. But he said, you mean that isn't he a paedophile kind of thing? And Louis went, yes. And he said, well, they're just, I don't know what. But was that a shock? It must have been a shock then for you to see all that come out.
Well, I knew he was odd, but I didn't. And it's a shame. It is a shame that his alleged victims, whichever you want to say, legally, you have to say alleged victims, never had the chance. They never had their day in court. They never got any justice because he was dead.
I don't think, because he's dead, you don't legally have to say alleged victims now.
Oh, okay.
Because he can't. What's he going to do?
Yeah, what's he going to fucking do?
You can't.
Come and halt me. I'll get into bed tonight. No then. Fucking hell.
One thing stayed with me, actually, now that you say that. He died clutching his cross. He's Catholic, I think. And I thought, that's interesting.
So did Emperor Constantine, didn't he?
Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is. I presume an emperor.
He was emperor of the Roman Empire, wasn't he? And he decided that all his soldiers were becoming Christians. So he thought, fuck me, I'm going to lose control of these. So he said, in this cross I will conquer. And he became a Christian Roman Empire. Roman emperor became Christian until his deathbed. And then he fucking swapped. Give me back the Quran, quick.
Oh, he was Muslim, was he?
Yeah. No, I don't know. No, he wasn't Muslim. He was a one
pagan or something.
Loads of gods.
All the gods.
Everything.
Loads of gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But the Savile thing surprised me because I assumed he was just this psychopath who didn't care about anything, and that implies he was scared as he was dying and he was holding that cross. I guess he had a heart attack or something. Psychopath,
as in no empathy for anybody,
and no worries or cares. I think to an extent.
He did seem to. He was so arrogant that he thought he could walk in and sit next to the future king and talk to him as if they were best buddies and push me out the fucking way.
You must have been livid.
I had that happen to me with Margaret Thatcher as well once.
She pushed you out the way.
No, not quite. This is a fantastic story.
Go on.
So she has agreed to come to the British Forces Foundation in first ball we had in the Grosvenor House, packed. Actually advertised that Margaret Thatcher was going to be there, and the office called and said she's not going to speak. Pardon? She can't speak. She's not very well. No, whatever. Okay. So I'd had 1,200 menu cards saying speech Margaret Thatcher. Fuck. And they're all out on the tables, and she's turning up in an hour. Fuck. So I went up to the reception and said, got any Tipex? And someone said, what, for 1,200? No. I Tipexed hers one out. So she sat next to me here. I've got Jeffrey Archer here. And I Tipexed, speaker, Margaret, Tipexed over it, put it there. Oh. And as Jeffrey Archer's speaking, I'm looking out my eye, and Margaret Thatcher's doing this.
Oh, she's taking the Tipex off?
Yeah. Swear to God, shit myself. Oh my! I started hyperventilating, and she did this.
Oh, that's on the audio. Jim's doing a look.
Yeah. She gave me a little look, and then she got up and spoke for an hour.
Did she? Oh, so she wasn't going to speak because she wasn't well. Then she saw you Tipexed her out, and then she's gone and spoken.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Oh, brilliant.
Hour's a bit much for any speech, though.
No, not for her. She could speak. Don't worry about that. She finished with a poem about leaving Europe. The Norman lord to his, how's it go? It said, the Norman lord to his son, I am dying, and soon you shall be heir to all the broad acres of England that William gave me for my share. And a right little handful it is, but before you go over to rule it, I want you to understand this. The Saxon is not like us Normans. His manners are not so polite. But he never takes anything serious till he talks about justice and right. And he stands like an ox in the furrows with his sullen eyes set on your own. And he says, this isn't fair dealing. My son, leave the Saxon alone. 1,200 people sprung up as if they were Bill and Ben, the flower pot men, and clapped for about 10 minutes. It was fantastic. All because of my Tipex. Fucking great.
That was great how you recited the poem.
Oh, was it? I was touch and go halfway through. I thought, well, shit, I can't remember the rest of this. Trying to be so flash.
I'm just thinking there could have been a whole different Jim. There could have been a whole different time. Jim Davidson never became a comedian. He was a
poet.
Or was a sort of actor, Anthony Hopkins kind of thing.
Anthony Hopkins, yes. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins.
You can do the impressions, can't you?
Well, I can. I tend to think I sound like him, but I don't.
No, it did sound like Anthony Hopkins.
That was actually Richard Burton. Same thing. Richard Burton. Anthony Hopkins is just the pound shop version of me.
What was it? I'm looking forward to having you for dinner or something, he says in Hannibal.
With it.
Yeah, he says
Funny enough, we were in Italy last week and we went to an olive oil tasting thing, and we were pissed because we'd been to a wine tasting thing before. And this woman said, so what you got to do, you take the olive oil in your mouth and you go... And I felt like saying, and wash down his liver with a nice Chianti.
Oh, that is a scary film. I've got one more question for you, but first, where can people find your channel and things?
I have a channel called Ustreme, 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 and you can get it on television. Like you'd look for the app for Netflix, you can get it on the television, or you can go to ustreme.com. It's a subscription channel. I do 2 half-hour shows like this per week. We've got lots of the comedians you can't see anymore, Jimmy Jones, Jethro, Freddie Starr, Chubby Brown, and lots of new... lots of stuff you can enjoy or not. You know?
Yeah, you wouldn't go on it to not enjoy it, though.
Well, I think the young people are going on it to see how comedy used to be, because you can't see it anywhere else anymore unless it's on my TV channel, Ustreme.
That's great. It is also on YouTube, isn't it? For those who don't have the app and the TV.
We put a little tiny bit.
Yeah, so it still does well. It gets good views.
We put 6 minutes on YouTube, and we put half an hour of me on Ustreme on the same day. I think we get about 150, 160,000 over a couple of days, and then it sort of drifts off a bit, doesn't it?
It gets good views on that YouTube, on the channel, it does.
Well, tomorrow, which is a Tuesday, I'm going to record my 500th this week.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
You must run out of stuff to say.
You just read the paper.
Yeah, I know.
I know. You do run out. You're always aware that it's going to be funny, and you're always aware that there's some form. In an ideal world, you have balance in what you're commentating on. But you can't be funny if you have balance.
Yeah,
you've got to pick a side and go for it, and hope you don't turn into Katie Hopkins.
Who's a heretic you admire?
I like Dave Chappelle, the comedian. He's a black guy in America, and I don't normally like comics. I either find them funny, really funny, which pisses me off that I'm not as funny as them, or they're just not good enough. They don't quite hack it. But this guy is very brave, takes on subjects that he shouldn't do. And the way he delivers his lines is that he's now going to say, I'm going to say something to you now that I shouldn't say. I'm risking my career for you. It's all bollocks. He doesn't care, but he's making out he's nervous. And I like him. I think he's very good. Makes me laugh.
That's a great heretic, Dave Chappelle. People, go follow Jim Davidson and get Ustreme, Ustreme. We'll have a link down below. Just go and do that. And he's putting out some brilliant stuff over there. He's come all the way to do this great, lovely thing we've just done. So go and give him lots of follows and things. Hit the like button on this and keep watching this channel.